Hey guys, it's worrying seeing the KDF in the streets of Nairobi and also witnessing all this mass exodus of people trying to get out of the country. There is fear that the country is sliding into the brink of the precipice and to somewhat an abyss. I was at the street protest yesterday and I want to give you guys my take on the grievances of these our Generation Z and possible ways to bring a stop to these street protests. Like I said, what I witnessed firsthand yesterday is not a social media mirage. This is what made the good Prof. Makau Mutua, God bless him, was roasted on his Twitter handle to have suggested that this is just a social media craze that will dissipate and fizzle out. What I witnessed firsthand is akin to the Arab Springs that saw the toppling of dictators like Ben Ali of Tunisia, Muammar Gaddafi, Mubarak of Egypt, and Saleh of Yemen. These were dictators whose governments had somewhat a one strong leader and had an oppressive administration. If I heard, many are the ears that listen, but many are the ears that hear, but few are the ears that listen. If I listened to our young people correctly yesterday, their grievances were far wide and ranging, and this is why I rightly predicted in a video here that the finance bill was just a trigger, but not the comprehensive reasons why they are on the streets. I have lists here of the things I heard from the Generation Z movement. So to end the protests, the clamor for Generation Z now is that the president should step down. And the reason why they want the president to step down, reason number one, the betrayal of the electoral promises. That when the president was campaigning, he promised them, he made a lot of promises and he has not made good of any of those promises that he made. He has renegated from the promises that he made them during his campaigns. And placards upon placards and songs that they were singing yesterday that ametudanganya, ametudanganya, ametudanganya. Point number two is that the president lies. These Generation Z, they are quite a peculiar group. They are very woke, and you cannot gaslight them. They are very, they can see through you, and they said they said that they have lost trust in the president in terms of saying the truth. And the mantra was that when he's not flying, he's lying. That was another point number two. The other main reason why they want the president to step down is that him and his administrations, they have festered grand corruption and they have turned to overnight billionaires. And my take, and in which I said that it is not about the finance bill, but it was because of state capture, ties in with the point of grand corruption. Because when I mention state capture, and by definition, state capture is just where one uses his political influence to weaken the institution. When a leader uses his political influence to weaken the institutions of a government, the three arms of government. Case in point, in Kenyan parliament, even in this last bill, it was stated that parliamentarians were bought 2 million each to vote yes for this finance bill. So issues, endemic and systemic issues of weakening arms and institutions, like since Ruto came to power, he has never constituted the IEBC. And when the IEBC acts like the pen that stops even politicians cross from one party to the other, he has thereby weakened even all other political parties by not reconstituting this IEBC. And also, unfortunately, because of IEBC absence, the situation is really frail in Kenya now, because we might end up into a constitutional imbroglio, because we can't dissolve the parliament without the IEBC. So, possible way forward, and this has been suggested by Nelson Harvey, that we should, the president should reconstitute the IEBC and dissolve the parliament. And this was also circulated through a letter that was written by a legislator from Kisii, I think Dr. Manduku, that the best way forward for our country now is to dissolve the parliament. That's my take.